Hello, everyone, and welcome to ElliiCon 2023. We are thrilled to have you here with us today, and we're just going to kick off our third annual conference. We hope you plan on sticking around all day today and all day tomorrow so that you can chat and see all the great sessions that we've got lined up for you. My name is Lise, and I will be your host throughout this conference. I'm incredibly excited to be here, and I hope you are as well. But before we jump into our first coffee talk session, I'd like to quickly walk you through some of the interactive tools on the right-hand side of your screen. Looks like most of you have already found our chat section. This is where you can talk and interact with the speaker and post some general questions. Below that, you're going to see the Q&A section, and this is where you can leave specific questions for the speaker to answer at the end of the presentation. There's also a poll section, and this is where speakers might actually post questions for you. So make sure you're paying attention to that poll section so you can interact with the speakers. The final tab is the survey tab, and this is where you're going to find our event attendee survey. Make sure to find some time over the next 2 days to complete that survey for your chance to win a 1-year subscription to Ellii. We will be drawing 2 winners for that prize, one at the end of the day today and one at the end of the day tomorrow. Finally, I'd like to draw your attention to a new feature that we're using this year called the leaderboard. You can find the leaderboard again on the right-hand side above the chat tab. Think of the leaderboard as a fun, interactive game that you'll be participating in throughout the conference. Each one of you is going to be collecting points for the different ways that you interact and participate. So click on the leaderboard button and select the Earn Points tab so that you can see all the different ways that you can get points. We will award the top 3 participants on the leaderboard with a 3-month, 6-month, and a 1-year subscription to Ellii. So get those points. All right, that's it for me. Enough for me. It's time to get to our first session of the conference, which is our coffee talk with the publishing team. This fun and casual coffee talk will be led by 4 members of our publishing team: Tara Benwell, Tanya Tressler, Ann Dixon, and Jen Artan. Our publishing team at Ellii creates the material that is the heart and soul of Ellii. It's used by thousands of people every single day, hopefully many of you. So please help me welcome our team and make sure to join in the conversation by participating in the chat. Thank you, guys. Publishing team, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Lise.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to ElliiCon 2023. This is our 3rd virtual conference. We're super excited that it's kicking off here. It's kind of a tradition for the publishing team to start off the conference. So just 4 of us here from the pub team. We're a little bigger than this, not too much bigger. We love the coffee talk. It's just a really fun way to start a conference. We like to drink coffee. We really rely on drinking coffee. So we hope you all have your coffee here. The coffee talk is a fun way to just get to know each other. So you guys can get to know us. We found in the last survey that everyone loved that about the ElliiCon, that they got to know the makers behind Ellii. So we're really happy to hear that. You get to know us, you get to know each other. You're going to be chatting with each other for the next 2 days. So you get to know each other in the chat a little bit. You can introduce each other. And we also just kind of get started talking about the theme. So this year's theme is all about AI and humanity. So we don't want you to forget about the humans behind Ellii. So here we are. And so I'm just here with a few members of the pub team, as I mentioned. We're going to introduce each other. We're going to introduce ourselves this time with a little help from AI. So in the meantime, there's a poll going up, and you can answer that, and you can introduce yourselves in the chat. So I'm Tara, the Vice President of Publishing here at Ellii. I lead a team of writers, designers, editors, and I work as a liaison with the product team to help them know what we need for them to make for you guys. I've been here with Ellii, formerly ESL Library, for 17 years. Right at the beginning, started working with Ben, and so it's been a long haul, and just love my job. I hope it shows. One interesting thing about me is that I choose a word of the year every year. And my word this year is poetry. So it's been a great year so far. I'm studying, reading, writing poetry. just took a train trip this weekend to practice some poetry, read poetry all day with my daughter. Just went to London, so not too far here from Windsor. On theme, I asked ChatGPT to write a poem about an English language teacher. Now, the first one wasn't great, but I tweaked my prompt a bit, so here it is. Can you write a short rhyming poem about being an English language teacher? And this is what I got. In the garden of verbs and tales spun fine, an English teacher treads the line. With patience vast as the open sea, they forge the paths to literacy. They dance with nouns and flirt with prose in the lush meadow where language grows. With a nurturing smile and a keen, wise eye, they sculpt young minds to reach the sky. Through sonnets sweet and narratives bold, they unlock secrets that stories hold. With a gentle hand and heart so grand, they lead their flock to the promised land. A painter of dreams in the classroom's frame, an unsung hero in education's name. With grace and fervor, they share the key to a world where words set spirits free. That line's my favorite. So, I don't know, we could critique that at some point. I thought it was not too bad. Let's meet Tanya.
Thanks, Tara. I like your poem. It's good. Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya. I'm the head of video production here at Ellii. I've been here for 11 years now, and I live in Vancouver, BC in Canada. And I know we have people from all over the world, so it's nice to have you all here today. So I asked ChatGPT to write me a bio, and I gave it my name and location, and it couldn't pull up anything. It said I needed to put in some more information about myself. So I gave it my company name, and then from that alone, it could pull something up. So it spat out a really long bio. So I asked it to shorten it, and this is what I got. Tanya Tressler is a dedicated professional hailing from the picturesque province of British Columbia, Canada. With a passion for education and language, she has found her niche as a valued member of the Ellii team. Tanya's expertise and commitment to language learning have made her an indispensable asset, contributing to the growth and success of Ellii's educational resources. Her residence in the stunning landscapes of BC serves as a constant source of inspiration, aligning seamlessly with her role in helping language learners worldwide achieve their language goals. So I thought that sounded pretty good overall. The strange thing was it didn't mention my job role, even in the long version. And I have my job listed on the Ellii site. I have it on LinkedIn. So I wasn't sure why it wasn't able to pull my actual job title for a career bio. So that was strange. It's also very general. And while I do think I live in a beautiful province, it mentioned that twice in 4 lines. I don't know that that has tons to do with language learning and my job. So there were some things that weren't so great too. So.
Oh, that's great. I love that we're critiquing. Always an editor.
Yeah, always. So Anne,
right.
I think you were gonna go next, right? What did you come up with?
Oh, Anne, you're muted. Can anyone hear Anne?
Oh no.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Yay.
Okay, sorry about that. My name's Anne. I'm coming to you from Richmond, Virginia. And on a good traffic day, that's about 2 hours south of Washington, D.C. On a bad traffic day, it's about 5. I have been with Ellii for about 6 years. And I decided to ask ChatGPT for a job description. And I asked for the job description to be written at an A2 level. And I just thought I would show everyone what it did and also show you that maybe you want to tweak your things that ChatGPT generates for you before you send it out, because it's not always exactly perfect. I hope everybody can see this on my screen. I asked it, what does an editor write a 1-paragraph definition at the A2 level? Well, if you look at it and you eyeball it, you can see that it's used the word like 3 times. So as an editor, I would try to add a little bit more variety. It's also used make and making 4 times. So right away, I would fix that, but I thought I would read it to you. An editor is a person who helps make things better, like fixing mistakes and making sure everything looks and sounds nice. When that first sentence, I would change that like to buy. So it shows how I make things better. They can edit all sorts of things like writing in books, newspapers, or even videos on the internet. Editors are like the detectives of words and pictures, finding errors and making them shine so that everyone can understand and enjoy them. And this was my favorite sentence that ChatGPT did, because it sounds like I find errors and make the errors shine, and surely I don't do that. They make sure things are clear, tidy, and ready to share with others. So that's what GPT thinks I do. So
I love that you make errors shine. I'm going to ask you to do that on Monday. Can you make my errors shine, please?
Yes, I'd love to do that. So I'll hand it over to Jen. And Jen, how do you pronounce your last name?
Arton, like art on the wall. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Jen Arton. I've been with Ellii for almost 2 years now, working in the publishing team. I'm coming to you today from the picturesque London, Ontario, which is about two and a half hours west or northwest of Detroit, Michigan. And I initially got my start teaching here in London, Ontario, Canada, in the LINK context. So with language instructions for newcomers to Canada. Now, one thing you might not know about me, I also enjoy poetry. I also love poetry, but I'm also a WWE super fan. So for my introduction, I asked ChatGPT to introduce me like a WWE announcer. So it was interesting, but you can hear for yourself what ChatGPT came up with for my introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to rumble at Ellie's English Language Conference, Humanity and Technology in ELT, because we've got a powerhouse ready to hit the stage. She's an MED Marvel specializing in adult education and technology, the Google Gladiator, and a champion in the ring of teaching excellence. She's the toast of the town, with awards like TVDSB's Bishop Townsend Award and TESL Ontario's Sparks of Excellence in their trophy cabinet. But that's just the beginning, folks. In the red corner, she's a tech-savvy dynamo who's wrestled with the likes of ChatGPT and Google Apps. She's the mastermind behind workshops for language teachers and the director of educational videos. In the blue corner, she's been an EAP instructor at Fanshawe College, a teacher trainer / outreach.
I think we get the point. Really,
Sorry.
Google Gladiator and things like that. So very interesting. Great announcer. But that was the ChatGPT WWE role to introduce me.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, so there's lots of fun ways you can get your students to use AI to introduce themselves. So we were just having a little fun playing around. And really, that's what we're doing this year with AI. And we hope you are too. It's really just our year of playing around. So thank you everyone for introducing yourselves. Not sure if we showed the poll results yet to see if you're using AI, but Lise, if you want to show those, you can get those showing. We're going to do a last little vote here and see the results. Has anybody already voted, Lise? If not, we can get started with our first question. But we're wondering if you're using AI in your teaching practice. We're just playing with it in our publishing practice this year. So yeah, let's see the results. Or we can show them after if you need a little more time to answer that question. So today we're going to talk about 3 questions. So our first question that we have is, think back to January and what were your first impressions and confessions of AI? So we're going to start with Jen with this question. Back to January when this was first coming along.
Thank you, Tara. Of course, my first impression as a techie, I love all things tech in ESL, and I'm always looking for a way to use it with my students and in my practice. My first impression of ChatGPT was, wow, it's going to save teachers a lot of time doing all that lesson planning and prep, the stuff that really takes so much time, like that initial finding material and putting it together. So I initially thought of it, this is going to be a huge time saver. Now, my opinion has changed a little bit since then, but it was, first of all, positive. And I thought, how can I make this tool work for me and for my students?
Nice. Should I go next? Tara, I think you're muted. Were you just saying something?
Sorry. Yep. Okay, Tanya, what have you got? What were your first impressions?
Ready. Okay. Well, honestly, I thought, oh my goodness, what a nightmare for teachers. I just remembered when I was an adult ed teacher, I taught for more than 10 years. And I was thinking back to my TOEFL class where we did a lot of essay writing. And I thought, how could I ever trust anything that a student submitted to me ever again? So, I mean, we want to trust our students, but, you know, sometimes they're lazy. And I used to be able to just, you know, plug in, copy paste something that they wrote, plug it into Google, and it would show me if it came from a source. It was so easy to find out if students didn't actually write it, if it sounded too good to be true. But now there's just kind of no way to prove it. So I was really feeling for teachers, like there's going to be so much plagiarism. How are they going to know? And so, yeah, my heart went out to teachers.
Teachers. All right. And Anne, what were your first impressions and confessions? Oh, Anne, you're muted. We could maybe just not be muted now. Can she hear me?
Anne, you're muted still. Oh, audios.
Just press it one more time and just wait. Yeah, now you're good.
It keeps going in and out. Okay, so I thought about ChatGPT and AI from my 22-year-old college student son's perspective. And I started thinking, wow, he's going to think he never has to write an essay again. And, oh, he's come up with this. Well, he hasn't, but there's this really convenient way to find answers now. But then I thought, nah, that's a little bit too simplistic. So I did some research. And I found a New York Times article from earlier in the year that interviewed students and found that students were actually worried that ChatGPT and AI was going to rob them of their motivation and creativity.
Interesting.
Right. So, but then I decided to do a deeper dive, and I found a study out of University of Bishra in Saudi Arabia that looked at language learners. So not just students in general, but language learners. And they were actually worried. I mean, their motivation increased for improving their reading and writing skills because ChatGPT is so text-based. So I think it was really encouraging for our students that their motivation seemed to be increasing.
Right. Okay. Well, I can think back to January so easily because I remember just being terrified. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really scared. I was scared about our legacy. Just as a content library, I've been working, like I said, 17 years on this content library. And I was thinking, oh no, like this robot's just going to come along and it's just going to build something, you know, just as good as our library in 10 minutes. And I really struggled with this for a few months and trying to figure out where we were going to find our way. I remember at TESOL in March, which was like kind of a few months in, I met up with Tanya and just kind of in the hallway. We had been to some sessions and we took a photo of ourselves. We were just like in shock going, what are we going to do with our lives? And I will never forget that moment. I was like, well, maybe I'll become a painter. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to do. So that was kind of my my confessional about AI in the beginning. Do we have anything interesting in the chat? Did we post that poll? Maybe we can share the results of that poll of how everyone was feeling. Let's see.
Yeah, there's some great comments in the chat about job security and the plagiarism issue for sure, and how to use it, the generative AI to help with learning.
Okay, awesome.
A lot of people are excited in the poll.
Okay.
That's good to see.
Poll here, but we don't see the results, Lise. We didn't see them last time either.
Oh,
so
you have to vote, Tara. If you vote yourself, you can see whatever.
Oh, you can see them? Oh, okay. Well, I didn't realize that. Okay. Good to see. Oh, okay. So let's see. What were people excited? Wow, most people were
Yeah.
excited in January. That's really interesting. Huh. Okay, I'm surprised. I'm so surprised that you were excited. All right. So question number 2. We're going to hear a lot of interesting ideas at this conference. And before that, I want to know what you guys are all excited about in terms of AI in relation to ELT. So as I mentioned, this year for us, it's just AI is just a big sandbox and we're just playing around. And we're excited about a few things too. So Tanya, what are you excited about in terms of AI and ELT?
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling more excited now that I've had a chance to wrap my head around it. I'm just getting started with experimenting with tools and haven't done too much so far, but one thing I found was that sometimes it can be very time saving, which is great. Gives me more time to be creative, and if it does some of those more like tedious kind of tasks for me. So for example, when I write video scripts, if I'm writing a grammar script, for example, in the past progressive, usually in the past, I would have to sit there and think of like 10 different natural sounding examples of past progressive sentences. And after a while, your brain starts to peter out and you're like, okay, I can't think of anything else. So now I just ask ChatGPT, write me 20 grammar sentences in the past progressive, it's 20 sentences. And it spits them out instantly. I can go through and usually there's only a few that are good. And even then I find I do have to tweak them a bit because it doesn't know like, language learner vocabulary as well as teachers would. So I think, okay, I can think of a better word to use there instead that it's more relevant for students. And so I do tweak, but I can just ask it to do like, write 20 more till I get the 10 that I need. And it's just so fast. So I'm excited to see what other kinds of tools I can use.
Yeah, those mundane tasks, right? We can use them for those types of things.
Exactly.
We've written millions of example sentences in our lives. That's for sure.
Yes, we have.
How about you, Anne? Yeah.
Well, what I'd like to do is to find synonyms, because a lot of times as an editor, I'm looking at what materials writers have written. And just recently, one materials writer used the word impressive a few times in a reading. And I thought, well, impressive's a good word to learn, but let's add some variety. So I just typed into ChatGPT 10 commonly used synonyms for impressive, and it came up with remarkable and stunning, which worked perfectly with what I was doing. And another tool I really like is the text-to-speech tool. I can just plug in a reading and then listen to it, and I can decide if it sounds natural, and I'll hear those repetitions better that way. So I've actually learned to embrace it and find out what it can do to make my job a little bit easier.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just a little better than Googling those synonyms, right? Because we can ask.
Yeah, because you can write commonly used, and when you write commonly used, it narrows it down for you and weeds out all of the more esoteric synonyms. So it's great.
Right. Nice. All right, Jen, how about you? What are you embracing?
Well, there's so much you can do with the tool. I mean, it's a tool. There's, so many different things like word generation, lesson generation, and trying to really make content personalized. But one of the things I've noticed about generative AI in tools like ChatGPT is the ability to take teaching and learning to the next step. You might have heard that SAM-R model of knowledge, about substitution, augmentation, modification. I think generative AI is taking us to that redefinition of what we can do stage. For example, you could potentially use generative AI to create that role play. If you're in Canada, where I am, Terry Fox runs are this month. Right? You can use generative AI to set up in your classroom and have a dialogue with Terry Fox, who is a big Canadian cancer hero. So you could ask ChatGPT, take on the role of Terry Fox, and students can ask it questions, and it will scan all the known internet resources that are publicly available, those giant databases, and act like Terry Fox. Right? And this is, we've got readings here in Ellii on Terry Fox if you're looking for it, but it's just such a really great way to, start using the tool in a different kind of way that we just couldn't use it before. So that's what's making me really excited.
Nice. Yeah, those extension activities for sure. Yeah. And for me, I find them already kind of relying on it a little bit as a publishing assistant, just, here and there, and find myself oh, what was it like before? Just like we were with Google, kind of like, what was it like before Google? You know, when I started university so many years ago, I remember we weren't even really using Gmail yet. So yeah. All right, question number 3. How do you feel about AI now? So it's been 9 months. We could say it has reached gestation. Here on the publishing team, we call ChatGPT Elliot. Kind of our secret name, and we play with Elliot in our AI sandbox, sharing all these results, the good and the bad results. So that's some kind of little insider note that you get when you come to something like ElliiCon. So there's lots of fun things that you're going to learn here, but leave your own responses in the chat, and we're going to talk about how we feel about it 9 months later in comparison to how we felt at the beginning. So Anne, what do you think? 9 months later.
Well, as I said, I am embracing some of its tools and finding it useful. However, am a little bit hesitant to use it for research. I find that there are a lot of factual inaccuracies, and I spend a lot of time doing fact checking. So I do worry about students who go to it and don't do their fact checking and just take it for granted that, well, it's online, so it must be true, but it's not. Always. And then I do find that its voice is a little bit generic. It likes certain words. For example, it loves the word delve into, enhance. It uses participle phrases a lot. It'll say things like, it's worth noting that, or it's important to note that. So there are some sentence structures it uses over and over again. It's a bit repetitive, but I do think you can use it to your best advantage, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. Those words delve into, we know now. It's pretty easy for us to detect. Tanya?
Yeah, so I'm feeling better about it too now, like Anne. And I saw a lot of people commenting in the chat just now about that they really use it a lot for lesson planning and lesson writing. So that's encouraging to see. I'm just feeling better because I kind of liken it to back when I was the last few years of my teaching career, when all these language learning apps suddenly came out. And I remember in the teacher's room with my coworkers, we were going to panic. We were like, our teacher's going to be replaced by this time next year. Like all these language learning apps are going to take over. And it's kind of like that now, you know, there's this initial panic, but you soon realize nothing can take the place of an actual teacher or humans on a publishing team. There's just not that same level of interaction, personalization, creativity. And so I don't think we have to worry. I'm not so much in a panic anymore. And now I'm just thinking of it as a useful tool.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. Okay, Jen, you've got something to tell us about voice that I'm really excited to hear about, I think.
Yeah, and that's been one of my concerns, just like what Anne was just talking about, is the potential loss of original thought and original voice, because, you know, we really want to encourage our students to develop their voice, to put in that work, to put in those mundane and difficult tasks to build their learning. So if it's being used to supplement, to do that instead of doing that hard work to develop your voice, I worry about what that is going to mean. Everything is going to be so generic, and really, you know, it's about communication. We want our students to speak with their voice and their thoughts and their ideas, and we really need to support them. And I worry that for right now, maybe not as much, but, you know, a few years down the road, as our students go through K-12 and they what's that called? Cognitively offload their thinking abilities. What is that going to do? Where's the next great Stephen King going to come from, or things like that? I mean, I do worry a little bit about that, but, you know, and I come back to the personalization and the human touch, just how important the human touch and the human connections are going to be. So it's a little bit about what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The human touch. I mean, that's why we're here, right? Here at ElliiCon, getting to know the teachers that use our content, use our platform. It's really important for us to keep that human touch and the human voice, for sure. I remember writing a lesson recently and sending it to Anne, and and she said, "Oh, it's your voice," and she recognized my human voice because I don't write as many of the materials anymore. I love to write a lesson here and there, and I just really get into it. And for me, that's all about writing is your voice. So I know that our friend Elliot is going to develop a voice eventually, and we can tell it if we want it to be sarcastic or friendly or whatever, those types of things. But that's still different from your own human voice. So we hope you're developing that with your students as well. Is there anything interesting in the chat that we can share here? Has anybody been watching? What have we got here that we can share?
I just wanted to add, I've been doing research this morning, and it looks like we've been talking a little bit about false information, misinformation. Anne was mentioning that as well. And what I've noticed that OpenAI, who is the geniuses behind ChatGPT, there's actually, if you're doing research with ChatGPT, it's now going to generate something that indicates these references may be fictional. You need to check them. So this is something that you're going to start to notice when you're using generative AI, and ChatGPT is just one of them, that you're going to start seeing these little notifications to say, hey, check your references, because we know it hallucinates and makes things up. It's really a bit of a people pleaser in that way, that it doesn't want to disappoint its human overlords and not give it information. So the onus is really on the user to make sure whatever we use, whatever we put out there with the help of generative AI is correct and it is right.
Yes, I remember when I was first experimenting with it, I thought, well, let's see what it can do with a topic of pickleball. We don't have a lesson on pickleball. And so I played around with it, and I was like, oh, it's not bad. And I asked it for a quote, a pickleball quote, and it gave me a quote from the maker of pickleball. And I was like, that sounds a bit generic. And I asked, like, is this a real quote from, like, or actually it said it was anonymous, and I asked it for an author, a credit, and it gave me like the maker of pickleball. And then I asked, I looked it up. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was trying to find it, and I asked, is this a real quote? And it said, oh no, actually, this is not a real quote. Completely admitted it, like a small child, Elliot, would do in the Sandbox. No, I just made that up, but it's a hypothetical. And I was like, what? I was really shocked. So that like was my initial reaction.
It does seem to be honest and come forward with its fun with facts.
Fun with facts. Yeah.
Transparency is becoming a big deal for sure. I think for anybody using OpenAI or generative AI, the transparency and saying, this might not be accurate. You need to make sure, like that. I think it was a lawyer that cited all these case laws and had gotten generative AI to produce it for them. They were all fictitious or fictional. And so that was a bit of a wake-up call in those early days of generative AI.
Right, exactly. So
I think it still gives it still says at the bottom, I'm not good at facts past 2021, right? And news and events and people past 2021.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because I've heard of teachers that students have submitted copy and pasted work from ChatGPT, and one of the answers was, I'm not good at facts past 2021. I wonder where you got that from.
Yeah, that is really funny, man. And I mean, here at Ellii, we're known for our current events, our materials that are new and fresh, and so it's not super useful for materials writers like us, but we're having fun with it. We wanted to, I'm not sure, we have a few minutes. We'll do a little Q&A after if there's time, but we wanted to show you our fun way of concluding a session like this. We are going to pretend to be AI. So Tanya's going to play this audio.
Okay.
You can recognize the
In
voice.
conclusion, this coffee talk has covered 3 important aspects of AI and English language teaching. We hope you enjoyed delving into the transformative world of AI with us. We trust that your knowledge will continue to be enhanced during this informative, profound 2-day conference.
Okay, so that was our creative attempt at mimicking AI. That's our CEO, Ben. You're going to hear him in our next session. It's not really his voice, though. We played it just a little bit for him yesterday. That's his cloned voice. So AI has actually, if you want AI to clone your voice, you can use special tools to do that. I actually prefer my cloned voice to my own voice. I've been told it sounds like my sister. I don't have a sister, but she doesn't really make many mistakes. She sounds like nice level, doesn't get too enthusiastic, doesn't make any mistakes. Again, like I said,
She does it right on the first take, right?
She does. Yeah. So we thought that was fun. But what we really want to say is that we love that we get to open each year with a fun, informal coffee talk. We hope you really loved being part of this space. Tanya and I are going to be at the next session, and we're going to be back here tomorrow with our friend Diego at tomorrow's coffee talk to keep this chat going. So we just wanted to end that way, but we are here for questions if there's any questions in there. I'm not sure if we have a moderator today for the Q&A. Do we have a Q&A here? Oh, Lee's going to come on, chat with us.
Sure, I can help you guys moderate. We've got 5 minutes, so why don't we take a look at some of the questions. There are a ton of questions in the Q&A section. You guys are fantastic. We're definitely not going to be able to get to all of them.
Okay.
Let's see here. Maybe we can do, I'm going to look for one of the ones that has a lot of upvotes. Well, actually, maybe this is a good one just for our publishing team here. I'll put it on the screen if I can. For some reason, I can't right now. That's okay. It says, I'd like to know how you choose the material that you choose to post. Also, how can we as teachers request certain material?
Oh, great.
Yeah, sure. Oh, well, we would love our product team to build us a suggestion box. So let's plug that for you guys. Been asking for that for a long time. But we do have just a help email that you can contact us through, and many teachers do contact us that way, and we encourage that. To be honest, probably 70% of the content that we make is based on teachers requesting certain materials, especially now because we have a huge library, and a lot of the targets have been covered in a certain way already. Topical content is always going to be open for new famous people and new things and new events. We do current events every week with our That's News to Me section, but teachers make requests all the time through our email, and also through just after they see a newsletter. So if you're on the newsletter subscriber list, you can always reply to those. We have all the social accounts that everybody has. So we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, we have YouTube, we have Instagram. Did I miss anything? Yeah, and so who are you talking to? If you're on Twitter, you're going to be talking to me. If you are on Instagram, you're going to be talking to Lee's. So you're talking to the publishing team directly when you reach out to us through social. So please do let us know what you want.
Just very quickly, because we do have to wrap up soon, but there was one great question, and this one's for you, Jen. How do you get the voice version of Chat GPT to make the WWF wrestling announcement? How did you get it to make a song?
Well, there's a plugin that you can actually download if you're using Chat GPT to have voice interaction. You can speak to it and have it respond to you. But the actual creative tool would be, Tara knows a bit more about that.
Yeah, we've tried, we've been playing around with Revoicer. So that's the one that has audio that you can plug in there. So it's a pretty great tool. There's lots of different ones. 11 Labs is one that we've also played around with. That's the one where we can clone our voices. So yeah, this is a really fun one. But yeah, Revoicer is the one we used with the audio. So you can slow down the audio. You can, add emotions. There's lots of different things you can do now with audio. Still not as
Awesome.
good as real voice, though. We get a lot of, people telling us how much they love the real voices. So we'll keep that going for sure. And we're going to talk about that in our next session on video.
That's right. Great. Okay, that ends our coffee talk session for today. Thank you, publishing team, for that fun and interactive discussion. And thank you to everyone in the audience for participating. You guys were great in the chat and a ton of Q&A questions that I know we didn't get to all of them, but hopefully that was still good for you. Okay, coming up next is our opening address with Ellie's CEO and founder, Ben Buchwald, and it will start in 5 minutes, followed by another talk with Tara and Tanya on amplifying ELT lessons with Ellii videos. So everyone, just grab a coffee and relax. We're going to be back with you in 5 minutes. See you soon.
Bye.
Ellii.